Pray before you read further, for the end of times is nigh.
Hello and welcome to the first video in what I hope to be a series. I should introduce myself first. I'm Andy. I'm the creator of Lost Haven Games. I'm a illustrator, tabletop game designer. I have been working freelance as an illustrator in the tabletop RPG industry for the last year and a half, 2 years at this point. But I've been playing tabletop role-playing games, amongst other games like Warhammer and stuff, for 24 years at this point. I started with Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition just before 3rd edition came out because it's what my older cousin and his friends were playing at the time. But I really started GMing and then getting into things like homebrewing at first and then playing other game systems when I was a little bit older. After 3rd edition came out, I was a regular GM for my group of friends for a long time. And since I've played a variety of indie games, learned a lot about game mechanics, and I've got to work with a lot of interesting game designers over the last couple of years. And so I've decided that I want to design my own games. And I'm going to be talking to you about the first game that I'm going to be doing, hopefully a Kickstarter for later this year, that I've already put a lot of work into, that I have a quick start available for, and that game is Abbadon and the 13 Seals. So Abbadon is a role-playing game much like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder. You play as a group with a GM. Instead of dice, you use playing cards, regular playing cards, and you keep the jokers in there. They act as a wild card. They have special mechanics within the game. And Abbadon itself is inspired by my love for the Diablo franchise. I grew up playing Diablo 1 and 2. Still really love those games. Still regularly go back to Diablo 2. And Darkest Dungeon for the aesthetic mostly. Like, we have similar inspirations. The guys that designed Darkest Dungeon were inspired by Mike Mignola. Big fan of Hellboy. Love the art style. It's pretty clean, pretty simple. Which, if you're juggling both the design of a game and doing the art, if you can knock out character art and stuff fairly quickly, it obviously makes handling that side of stuff a lot easier. But there might be some other elements of Darkest Dungeon in there, and we'll look at that in a future video. So from that you can tell Abbadon is a dark fantasy game. It has no leveling mechanics. Your characters don't gain levels. They do gain experience, and they can spend that experience on skill ranks or attribute points or traits which are used out of combat. There are 4 archetypes that players will get to choose from. The archetypes will include the Elementalist, who are powerful spellcasters. They have 4 skill trees. Aeromancy, which is wind magic, so it can be things from gusts of winds to lightning storms. Aquamancy, which is water magic, so again, water jets, ice, all that good stuff. Pyromancy, which is fire, all the fire. And Terromancy, which is earth magic. And again, future video, I will go into detail on what all those trees do and the archetypes individually. Second one, Faithful. That would be your paladin, cleric sort of archetype. They have illumination magic, which is light magic, which can heal, it can do damage, it can defend. They have liturgy, which are prayers that they can cast to bolster themselves or their allies. Paragon, which are martial skills and things like taunts and stuff that they can use on enemies. And finally, the martyrdom tree, which allows them to grow more powerful the more damage they take during a combat. So prolonged combats make the faithful, if they go down that route, particularly strong. Third, hexing, another group of spellcasters, but they use magic along the lines of necromancy, blood sorcery, hexes, which debuffs the curse enemies with them, and Moirai, which is fate manipulation, which allows players who play a hexing to manipulate the deck of cards in a variety of ways. And finally, the Stalker, who are, for the most part, they're like a mixture between a rogue and ranger. They're range combatants mostly. They can use traps, they can use shadow magic, and they have a skill tree called Lycanthropy, which gives them animalistic traits, heightened senses, vicious melee attacks that allow them to take health back, or the ability to mark opponents as their favourite prey and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'll go into more detail with the archetypes and mechanics, all that sort of stuff in a future video. This one is just a quick introductory of myself, the game. Next video will be a quick mechanics overview, just in general mechanics, what a hand of cards might look like in Abbadon, and how the game sort of plays that way around. Thank you all for your time. If you want to hear more about the game, like and subscribe.